Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Sweaty Palms podcast. I'm your host, Zoe Dillon, and today's guest is the very talented artist and good friend of mine, Ayesha Cheema. To give a little bit of background on Ayesha, she's a junior at the University of Georgia, majoring in management within Terry College of Business, and is also in the music business program here. And that's how we met. Originally from Marietta, Georgia, she started her musical career back in early 2018 when she first started posting her songs to Soundcloud under the name lilcheema. Her most popular song is titled Money Trees, with over 1,600 views on the platform. Her music has been described as R&B soul mixed in with psychedelic undertones. Thank you so much, Ayesha, for being on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So just to jump right in, what made you want to start making music and putting it out into the world?
I've always been a songwriter, and since I was I hate it's so cliche, but like literally since I was born, I've been writing music and like performing in front of my family and stuff. So around the time that I got into high school, I had this one friend. She released a song on SoundCloud out her closet, and once I saw how easy it was, I was like, well, damn, like I can do that.
Right.
And I'd been doing that, I just wasn't releasing it. So at that point I was like, let me make a SoundCloud, and that's where lilcheema started.
I feel like that's how a lot of people should start, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, like that's a great...
It was very, very casual. Like it started as a meme. Like I thought I was gonna make meme music, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of serious about this. So I changed the meme name to just Cheema. I dropped the lil. I graduated.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we like to hear. Could you tell me more of the story behind like why you started making music?
Yeah. So it was really just like I knew I wanted to pursue music, and at the time that I was like a junior in high school when I started making music, at that time I didn't really want to do anything other than music. I knew I always wanted to go some type of artistic route, and music was where it was at. So at that point I was like, let me just start releasing it, like I can do it, you know. So I started putting it out there, and that's what started it, and people started listening.
I mean, I looked at your page, people seem to really like it, so.
yeah it's pretty cool. It's cool to get that feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So kind of going off that, what does music mean to you? Like what significance does it hold in your life?
For me, music, I used it very much as like a diary. I'd gone through like a lot at that point, especially in high school, like towards the end of high school and stuff. I was using it as a diary. Like a lot of my songs are just purely emotion driven, and maybe they should not have been at times, because it was like everyone could just look into my life at that point if they just took one look at my SoundCloud. And my brother even told me that. He's like, maybe you shouldn't be putting that out. I'm like, you know, fuck it. Like, it's good. It's good. And people will resonate with it if they find it. So
I think that's the beauty of a lot of music.
Yeah.
Like if you don't put it out there, then you'll never like know, and then you'll be connecting with other people's life experiences.
Exactly. I had to be very vulnerable in order to make my art. And I've never been like afraid of that. So I thought it would be cool. You know,
our professor, his name's David Barbie, but we're in the music business program, but he talked about one time in class, he was like, you should never kind of start an idea thinking that you're going to fail at it. Or whatever.
Exactly.
You should go just, I almost said full frontal. That's not full throttle, and just, you know, post it. And because, you know, you never know if you don't try. And
that's where I was at that point. I went and hung out with my friend. Like an hour later, I had a song posted. I made an account, and I started putting music out ever since.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So I'm just really curious about this, because I'm not a singer or an artist or anything, so I don't know what this process is like. But could you tell me what your songwriting process is like, essentially? Like, do the lyrics come first, or is it the music? You know, when you sit down to write a song, kind of what goes through your mind? Is it kind of just, I'm trying to think of the word, spontaneous? Like, do you have like, you're falling asleep at night and then something pops into your head? Like what goes on? Like, how do you write a song?
It is a little bit of everything in the best way possible. My notes app, completely full. I have a lot of things that I delete, and like I'll go back and edit and like find stuff. I'll find stuff from years ago sometimes, and it'll just like, you know, I gotta finish it sometimes.
Right.
A lot of things do go unfinished. That's sadly just a part of it. But yeah, sometimes I'll just be like singing in the shower, singing in my bed, in my room. Like I'm always singing every day, so I'll just write stuff down, like if I have an idea. Usually though, because I don't produce, and like I don't have a lot of producer connections right now. I have like a couple friends, but you know, we're all busy, we're all in college,
Right.
so I will go and get like YouTube beats and like inspiration that way. And basically the beat comes first for that reason, just because I have nothing else to go off of. And so I'll just make like a flow off that. Like it'll be gibberish straight up, just like singing, like ad libs and stuff, you know, like I'll just be like, hey, you know, just make up whatever I can make up. And I'll record it on my phone and like start writing in the notes app. I'll start writing things like whatever I'm thinking, whatever subject matter I'm trying to write about. I'll start writing to the beat. And other times it'll be like I'll write my idea and then I'll go find the perfect beat and then I'll lay it down however it flows on the beat, but in that way the lyrics would come first. So it could go either way.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's really cool. I didn't like I feel like everybody's process is so different. So I want to ask, you know, when I have artists on here, what theirs is like, because I feel like it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of something like that compares it. It's just going to be unique with every person's going to be different, you know?
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So going off of talking about your writing process, I wanted to talk specifically about your song Money Trees, because that one, I love it, first of all.
Thank you.
But I want to know, like, what's the inspiration behind this song? And if you could just, you know, tell everybody.
This song was the quickest I ever made, and like I gave it the littlest thought.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like I was saying, like how I was so emotional with all my other music, like everything was kind of directed at somebody, directed at a certain situation, a certain point in my life. Money Trees, I was like, what's the most BS song I can make in the shortest amount of time? And I wrote it right after my Spanish final.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I took the final. Within 5 minutes, Money Trees was made.
Wow. Really? 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
I'm astounded, because
Thank you.
It's great, and it's one of your most popular songs.
It
That's
is
crazy.
my most popular song. I made it within 5 minutes. It's like I found this beat. There's this really cool artist called Sir that I listen to, and I was typing in Sir type beats because at that point I was like obsessed with this man. And so I looked up Sir type beats. I found one. I listened to it instantly. I'm like, okay. I was going for Lord vibes with that song Royals, where like none of it makes sense, but it does have some kind of greater meaning when you really think about it. It was exactly like that. Like, let me just talk about whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went together, but I was saying something.
Right.
You know?
That sounds really like kind of like a poetry, like creative genius. Like anybody who listens to it can interpret the way that they want to interpret it.
Exactly.
It can be different for
I feel like subconsciously I was giving it meaning, but like consciously I wasn't even trying to do anything.
Yeah.
And it just turned out to be the most fi song I had ever made.
Yeah, I love it. I completely agree.
Thanks.
So can you talk also about your song Psychedelic? Because I think that one's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So Psychedelic, for someone who, talk about me, for someone who doesn't really even do drugs, like I should be referencing them a lot. Psychedelic is just inspired by like floating type of feeling, and I feel like a lot of like 8D audio and like certain songs will make me feel like I'm floating, and I love that feeling. Like I want to translate that in my music to whoever's listening. Like I want everyone to just feel like kind of like, you know, that like euphoric feeling of doing drugs without having to do drugs.
Right.
And
I think that song captures that perfectly.
For sure. Even the lyrics, like I told you even before, like I wasn't gonna go into the lyrics because this isn't a genius interview.
Yeah.
It is very up to interpretation of the listener, but there are a lot of little Easter eggs in there that like if anyone would listen, they'd be like, oh damn, like she really wrote that.
Right.
But yeah, for that reason I love that song.
It's a really cool one. Okay, so I guess we kind of already touched on this, how do you make your music? If you could go more into detail about kind of that process of physically creating it.
Yeah. So at the moment I still do not even have any official equipment, and people like are mind boggled when I say that.
Yeah, I thought you had like a whole, like, because you do it in your bedroom, right?
Yeah, I do it right here.
Wow.
Right,
we're in the bedroom where we are sitting.
We are
right
in
now.
the bedroom at the desk.
Yes,
right now,
ma'am.
Except we're using microphones.
Yeah, true.
I don't even have a mic, man.
Different setup. So can you talk? Yeah, just talk about how does that work?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, it shouldn't work, but I do make it work.
Yeah. Clearly you're doing something right.
Yeah, thank you. So I use my headphones like the headphones you are wearing right now, those Beats.
Oh, so the little microphone.
I use the little itty bitty mic 1 inch on the headphone cord to
Yeah.
record all my vocals.
Wow.
And I just lay down like a bunch of separate tracks. I'll mix them and stuff. I use Logic Pro because it came with my Mac, and I got that for college. So kind of just like I used a lot of things that weren't really music specific to make my music. So that's cool. It's very accessible. Like a lot of people nowadays especially are making music in their bedrooms, and it's getting very easy to like self release and stuff. So that's kind of what I've just been doing for a few years now.
Kind of going off of that, label services versus a traditional deal, all this kind of stuff. If you like, you know, assuming you get big one day, would you want to be signed to like a major label, or do you want to do your own thing? Okay. Do you want to go into that? Like if you'd like to talk about that?
So with my management degree, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
With the management degree, as far as I can get it, doing it myself, I will. Just because that's like the bigger pieces of the pie, I guess, that you can keep for yourself, the better.
Right.
So as much money as you were making as an artist, like a label, publishers, like any type of partnership can take that away from you, sadly. And I feel like labels especially abuse that, and like they exploit really the artists that they are signing. So as far as I can get doing it myself, like if I meet some cool people that I really vibe with, maybe I'll keep them on my team and like give them a percentage, but I am not going for no evil shit. You know?
Yeah, keep that out of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that song, Protect Your Energy.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Fits really well here. So I know we mentioned this kind of in the intro of the episode, but I would like to hear like you describe what your music style is from your perspective.
Every time someone asks me, it's very hard to answer, and it always ends up different. I always say lo-fi just because I am putting out some pretty low quality stuff right now in terms of sound. Like, you know, I don't have a mic. I don't have an interface, like none of that. I literally just record on headphones plugged into my laptop directly. I say lo-fi for that reason. But I would say like lo-fi R&B for sure. Sometimes I make like emo rap too.
I heard some of those. I liked those. I was like, I hope you mentioned that too.
Yeah, I feel like it's weird because I don't know how to really like. I feel like I have two different audiences, like some emo fans, some R&B. Like I don't think that many people, like I don't think it's that popular to be a fan of both. But because I listen to so much music, I just kind of, you know, I blend them, or like I do one song that's emo, and the next release will be like an R&B song.
Right. So that's nice though, because you have two different types of fan streams, I guess, coming in. Two different types of fan audiences. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know if it's disappointing for them when
No, I don't think
when
so.
I release something a little bit different, you know?
Honestly, I think I would be really intrigued by that if I found somebody and then I heard, because I find that like a lot of artists have a hard time, or musicians, bands, whatever, making things that sound different. Like you'll hear one album and they get really big off this first album, and then the second, third, fourth all sound the same. So I think it's really unique that you're doing two different sounds and really cool. Yeah. So could you tell me some of your favorite artists are right now?
Yeah, a lot of constants right here. Okay. Black Bear and Chase Atlantic, two of my favorite artists like ever. I've been listening to them since like high school, and yeah, that's never gonna change. I listen to a lot of their music and try to incorporate elements of that into my own. I'd say like Black Bear's like vocal riffs, insane. I love them. I try to do stuff like that. And Chase Atlantic has a lot of psychedelic music too, where they do like rap type stuff, but then sometimes it's like you're suddenly floating, you know? And I love that in music. So I feel like that does influence my music. But then also there's like a lot of SoundCloud people. Like there's a lot of local music, and there's this guy that's actually from Georgia named Pretty Pack, and I've been listening to him for a few years now, and he's like a SoundCloud guy. Cool. Or that's at least where I found him. He has music on other platforms, but his stuff is also insane. Like he has a lot of Black Bear type vocals that I gravitate towards that in music. It's like a lot of emo rap also, kind of, but like alternative stuff, and that's kind of just where I vibe. Like I sit in that pocket of music, I feel like.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's what I like to listen to most. Like that's what I most listen to.
It's
most often.
It makes sense that you'd want to produce what you like to hear yourself.
Yeah.
Or put out there.
I also listen to a lot of Atlanta rap.
Okay.
And Future is a big artist that I listen to right now. He's been around for forever, and I've been listening to him since like middle school, but
Love that.
I love Future too. Future also makes some insane psychedelic tracks and like rap stuff that I like to listen to, and I'd like to make some music like that.
You mentioned you described your music also as R&B, and that kind of leads me to my next question. But what do you think? Like, do you think there is a music scene here for R&B music in Athens, Georgia?
No, I wish.
So
I work at the 40 Watt. It's a music venue in downtown. Yeah, I work with Zoe. And every show I've seen, like aside from maybe two, there's this one girl named Convict Julie. She's also in our Women Who Rock group here. That's run by Valina. Yeah.
Woo, Valina, shout out.
Yeah, shout out Valina. I know that she does like alternative R&B. And she's cool, but other than her, like I have not witnessed any type of R&B music out here.
Right.
And I really like to bring that from like, you know, Metro Atlanta to over here, because I feel like there's not enough of it. There's a lot of jam bands and like just rock scene. But yeah, R&B is a little lacking out here.
Right. So if you could, in a perfect world, if you could have a show here, who would be in it? What would you want to do with that? Where would you want it to be?
Yeah. So I actually am in the works of setting up a show at the 40 Watt where I work with you.
Exciting.
And so there's this collective that I'm working with that's from back home. I'm not going to say anything right now because nothing is confirmed.
Right.
We're still in the works of like which artists and stuff are going to be able to come because the date's up in the air, but it's going to be an alternative R&B type show. We're going to have R&B, rap, all the stuff that like Athens is lacking a little bit of, and it's going to be super awesome. It's going to be my first performance ever, so I'm really excited.
Yay!
Yeah.
So guys, stay tuned for that. I'll have updates once things are confirmed, and it'll be posted to Instagram, everything.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Very exciting.
Yes.
So I also wanted to ask you if you have any cool projects coming up that you'd like to talk about.
Yes, I do. So
take it away.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in the process of re-recording, remixing, and actually mastering all my favorite songs that are on my SoundCloud right now, because I didn't know what the heck mastering was for the very longest time. My last most recent single, Way Home, that one is actually mastered. Might not be that great, but it was a first try. It was an attempt, and I kind of love it. So I self-mix all my music, and I am basically just trying to like up the quality so I can eventually take it to other platforms, which is another thing that I'm working on right now. I'm trying to get on Spotify, Apple Music, all the good stuff, and Money Trees will probably be the first song to come out on all platforms.
I think that'll blow up.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. Yeah.
That's really exciting. So we were talking about this before we hit record, but you talked about DistroKid TuneCore. Could you explain what that is to people who don't know?
So DistroKid and TuneCore are services that any artist can like enroll in for a little, like a small fee for I think yearly or per album, per release, whatever like that. And they will release your music on all platforms. And it's just a super accessible way for small artists to get out there without a label or any of that. And
pretty cool.
That's the cliff note.
Love it. Perfect. Going back to your song Way Home, I just want to know, but could you talk about, if you want to, what made you want to write it?
Way Home is a song about savoring the time that you have with somebody, and it's like when you don't want to go home because you're having such a good time. That's what it's about. And it's like late night drive by stuff like that. It's about my boyfriend.
Cute.
Not gonna beat around the bush, but yeah, it's just like when you're having such a great time with somebody that you want to take the longer way home just so you can have a few extra minutes, you know. Yeah.
Wow, you're making me cry. I'm vicariously living through you. I think I'm trying to think if I have any other. Oh, there's this really fun thing that I wanted to do at the end of interviews where I ask you a series of questions and you have to answer them without thinking. Like you just say, like I'll give you 2 options. It's called the lightning round.
Okay.
And you just say whichever one that you resonate with. Yeah. So are you ready?
I guess.
Okay. Well, I guess, yeah, they're coming at you anyway. Okay. So singing or producing?
Singing.
Okay. Chicken 65 or lasagna?
Ooh, chicken 65.
SoundCloud or Spotify?
For anyone who does not know, I am Pakistani.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk a little bit about that.
Maybe I should have talked about my name.
Yeah. Let's go back. We'll pause the lightning round. Okay. So, yeah, tell us background on just more about who you are. Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting for everybody.
That's my bad.
Yeah. No, that's me. I didn't
Wow,
ask.
we really didn't catch that.
Yeah.
So I am half white, just plain old American, and half Pakistani. I live with my Pakistani side of the family. Like that's just been, who I am, like my whole life, the culture and everything. I've been completely like surrounded by it. The language, the clothes, the food, all of that. All that good stuff. Chicken 65, for those who do not know, we're giving a Food Network lesson here.
I love it.
Chicken 65 is just like fried chicken, spiced to the max, dyed hot red.
It's the best thing I've ever tried.
Yeah.
Ever. It's so good.
It's so good. So yeah, Chicken 65, anyone who knows me knows that I'm in love with Chicken 65. I would marry Chicken 65 if I could. Sorry, boyfriend. He knows that too. He would marry Chicken 65 if he could. It's the best thing ever. And for those of you who want a cultural and out of body experience other than my music, go eat some Chicken 65.
This kind of makes me want to ask this question, but how do you think your culture has impacted your music style? Do you think it's influenced you at all?
I don't really think so. I think it might be that I'm like more open to certain vocal ranges that people would say like are unconventional, like the way that like Bollywood music, for example, has like the different riffs and stuff and vocals. Like there's a lot of that. I know Zayn Malik from One Direction has used some of that in his music, and he's like sang in Urdu before.
That's really
which
cool.
Is the language that we speak. Yeah, I don't think I would go as far as to sing in Urdu. Yeah, but yeah.
Do you think maybe ever down the line, like when you start if you start experiencing with other sounds, like maybe you would incorporate?
I don't know. I feel like the style of singing does not really suit the accent that I have to be in,
Gotcha.
To be able to speak the language. There are people who can pull it off. It's just not me.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to know. Very curious.
No, you're good. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that we went into that because I just think that's really cool.
That's fun.
Yeah. People can learn more.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Do you want to go back to the lightning round? I got a couple more.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. SoundCloud or Spotify?
SoundCloud.
Obvious. Yeah.
Yeah. I got a lot of friends on there.
Yeah. Oh, okay, we're going to go off a little bit on the lightning round again. Do you want to talk about the community and culture that is SoundCloud? Because we mentioned a little bit before the camera started rolling.
Yeah. There are some people who don't know I exist. Like I said, like Pretty Pack and stuff. He's bigger than me, but, still pretty local. I'd say his music is super cool. And he actually had connections with Six Dogs, who was a rapper from Atlanta that unfortunately died last year. And
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So he's a big inspiration too. And like for SoundCloud music, like everyone on SoundCloud pretty much knew him, or of his music at least. And yeah, so he was really good. There is this guy that I have that's a friend out in Ohio. Shout out B-Soy. B-Soy is so good. His name is Ben, and he makes emo rap, and he's really cool. He performs in Athens, Ohio, which is also a college town out there. That's crazy.
Yeah, what are the odds?
Yeah, and then I have another friend who's named Cannon, and I think he's also out somewhere in like Midwest, and he is literally like 15. What? Insanely talented, makes like old Tyler the Creator type music, but also like screamo rap at some points. Like very, very interesting. Yeah, I meet a lot of interesting like mixes of music, like the people that make them on SoundCloud. But those are like my buddies as of right now. Like those two, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, that's like a whole world in and of itself. Spotify doesn't really have that kind of community that that SoundCloud does.
Yeah, I feel like Spotify is so far removed because it's just, you know, one of those platforms that people put their music up on. It's all money.
Right.
A lot of the people on SoundCloud, if they don't have the means, you know, they're not getting paid for it.
Right.
And that's me right now.
Right.
It's hopefully going to change soon, but there are a lot of cool people out there that are making awesome music that just doesn't get enough listens.
I think it's nice because you can interact with your fans on
they
SoundCloud.
have a messaging feature. That's how I meet a lot of the people that reach out, like they want to collab and stuff. And
really cool.
Yeah,
I feel like Spotify should somehow, well, I don't want them to do what SoundCloud's doing because SoundCloud's is his own thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that SoundCloud has that feature and you can actually connect with people. It's kind of reminding me of like not Facebook, but like maybe Instagram, because DMs, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, they have comments
like
too,
YouTube-ish, you know, like YouTube comment section. I don't know.
Well, there is a comment section on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Like you can comment and it'll go to the specific time that they commented, and that'll show up like as you play through the song. So like listeners,
I noticed that.
Yeah, listeners can see what people are commenting when and like what time in the song.
That's so cool.
So you can hear what they're hearing as they comment. So if it's about like any of the musical elements, you can see like what their thought process is and like what other listeners are experiencing through the music. But also like that's how a lot of people, like if they're not going through the DMs on SoundCloud, they will go through the comments and be like collab, you know. And and I respond to like pretty much all my comments, so that's really cool.
Go hit up Ayesha if you want to collab.
Yeah, hit me up. Don't be scared. I'm really friendly. Yeah.
But now I want to shout out Ayesha on all her social. So if you want to follow her on SoundCloud, it's lilcheema. And then her Instagram is 999cheema also. And I'll have these in the description on my Instagram page, so it'll show you how to spell everything.
Yeah, you can look up Cheema on SoundCloud, and it is the only picture of like a girl. That's me. And it'll say Atlanta on it, or you could put in Lil Cheema, which is the username.
Right.
Like,
and
either way pulls it up.
Her last name spelled Cheema.
Yep.
And that's all I have, like all the questions I have. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Having me.
I hope you had a great time.
This was awesome. Yeah.
Yay!
I had a lot of fun.
And guys, tune in for next week's episode, and thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. I'm gonna leave y'all with a sample of Ayesha's most popular song on SoundCloud titled Money Trees. Thanks so much for listening.
Gotta keep to myself because everybody leaves. Vision go green, no, not in me talking money trees. Jumping in the back, so I guess it's no funds for me. I just talk to God, I give him thank yous and a please. Pressure on me when I'm riding, ducking the police. I can be in charge, all that I'm needing is the keys. I be in my thoughts and man, I swear they are a tease. Ripping up my tongue on burns like 300 degrees. It's hot, so hot, sweating underneath the spotlight. Stress me out, I can't even stand the night. Like my oh my, what a beautiful disguise I'm wearing today. I hope that I do not cry, just seeking shade. Block the sun out of my eyes under money trees. That's all I need. Under money trees. That's all I need.